Hi everyone, welcome. If you're new here, my name is Aileen, and here we like to talk about all things makeup, mostly luxury makeup, skincare, and fashion. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I hope you consider subscribing and joining the family. So today, I've had them for a while, but if you're new here, I am in the middle of moving from Georgia to Florida. I listed my house, it was on the market for 3 days, it's under contract. I've had a lot going on. The last time I filmed was in my mom's kitchen, and that was the Clé de Peau holiday collection. I'll have that link down below in the description box as well as up here. It's just, well, up here I believe it is. It's just been busy. It's been crazy. But today we're going to try out the new Tom Ford blush, the new Tom Ford concealer, and I will give my thoughts. So if you're interested, then keep on watching. But before we go, like we always say, comment, like, subscribe. Let's get to it. I'm excited. I'm so excited to be sitting back in this chair. I'm just saying, let's go. Okay, so I have a full face on, minus eyes and concealer, because I'm excited to give this a try. So I will say the packaging is very luxe, just like the glosses, like the older glosses. So there you go. It's identical in size. The packaging is identical to the glosses. And this is the shade Frenzy. Same size, same everything. The sides, the tops, all of it. The little peekaboo windows in the front and the back. Exactly the same. As far as product, it comes with 0.18 fluid ounces, which is 5.4 milliliters. This is in the shade 2NO Cream. And although it is the same size as the packaging as the gloss does have just a little more product. So the gloss is 0.19 fluid ounce and 5.5 milliliters instead of 5.4. Now she does come at a hefty price tag, but we're gonna see if it is worth it. Let me swatch it for you. And again, this is 2NO Cream. So there it is, swatched. And there it is blended. It definitely feels like a little goes a long way. So that is cream, a little lighter. I feel like I should have gone a little darker, but I wasn't sure, and I went in person. But I do currently have on my under eyes the Amore Pacific Time Response Eye Reserve Cream. That's what I have. I like to really hydrate before I apply concealer. So what I wanted to do was apply corrector on one side, not the other, and apply the concealer over it just like I would. Sometimes I wear corrector, sometimes I don't. So this is the Chanel corrector in the shade Peach. So I'm going to use one side of my e.l.f. concealer sponge. This sponge is so good. It's perfect. The size is perfect. It does get larger. It is like very lightly damped, but it is a very good sponge for concealer, and especially with the price. I think it was like $3, but there it is. Here you have the corrector, and here there is no corrector. And next we will apply the concealer. There's claims that it is very hydrating. So what I want to do is just apply a little bit, because if it's indeed as hydrating as it felt, and I'm just going to flip this over, as it felt on the swatch, a little definitely goes a long way. And that is definitely the case. So I'm just tapping that in and spreading it. And there you are. That is nice. It is, I feel, for my liking, a little too light. So I may consider picking up another shade. I did pick mine up in person at Neiman Marcus or Nordstrom. I don't remember. I was in Miami. I want to say it was Nordstrom. I'm almost positive. I'm just tapping to see if I can darken it a bit and like absorb some of the product to see if it lightens. But it does not look bad at all. So let me try it on this eye. And I'm just going to do 2 swipes instead of 3 because a little did go a very long way. And I will use the same side. It does feel very hydrating, very creamy, very easy to spread. We'll definitely have to test it and see how it wears. And I can update the description box or a pinned comment with how long I wore it and how it wore. I feel like it's brighter with the corrector. Like the corrector really corrected that darkness, so it was like that brightness really came out. Where this side, I still see like a slight gray cast where I have a little bit more darkness. So let me see how it builds up. I only want a little bit. So I'm going to scrape some of that off and just see how well it builds up. And try not to absorb too much. And I'm definitely going to have to try my favorite concealer method, which is adding a little Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. But I didn't want to hinder this concealer by adding that. I just want to see what the concealer is going to do on its own. So there you go. It did provide a little more coverage. It did build up nicely. I'm looking down here at my ×10 mirror. This side definitely looks brighter, more lifted. Right here, you see more brightness than on this side. But this side does not look bad. If you have concerns with under eye darkness, and you want that brightness and you don't want that little slight gray cast, I would say definitely use a corrector. This is not like a high full coverage. It is like a medium leaning towards full, but like right here where I have a little more, it's darker than everywhere else, you can see the difference. But it does feel very hydrating. It does look beautiful in the under eye. So with my medium Wayne Goss artist brush, I am going to set that with my Becca Under Eye Setting Powder, which is my go-to. And when I run out, I think I'm going to try the Pat McGrath. I have not tried that one. Everyone raves about it. So we shall see. Okay. I feel like the powder kind of like toned down the brightness of this just a smidge. Enough that I don't feel it looks too light. And this is a translucent powder, so I'm surprised. But here it is up close with color corrector. And here it is without. It's currently 6:30 in the evening. I will probably have this on a good 6-7 hours. So I will definitely update the description box or pin comment or both. So next, I only picked up one of the blushes. I picked up 04 Cherry Blaze, and it does come in the Tom Ford pouch and the standard Tom Ford packaging. And I also wanted to mention, for size reference, this is the new blush and this is the old. They are the exact same size, exactly the same size as the old blushes. However, although they are the same size, you are getting less product. The old blushes were 0.28 ounces, 8 grams, and the new blushes are 0.22 ounces and 6.5 grams. So you're getting less product, but they're $90. But you get 2 shades in one. So it really depends on you whether you think it's worth it or not. So I picked up the shade 04 Cherry Blaze. It's like the peachy coral, and I just broke a nail as I was getting ready to film, so I apologize for that. But this is the shade. I will swatch both. I will say upon swatching, they feel very silky, very silky. So this is the lightest shade, and this is the darker shade. Those are the 2 shades. And let me just rub in between both. So this is the light, the dark, and this is both. And there it is with both mixed together. It is a really pretty shade. I will definitely swatch these on my daughter, who has a darker tan skin, and see what that looks like on her. So let's go ahead and apply them on the face. And I do already have bronzer on. I was like, I'm just gonna apply them the way I would naturally. And we all know Aileen will have on some bronzer. I'm just saying. So this is the lightest shade. Okay, it's definitely pigmented. I wasn't expecting that pigment from the lightest shade, but there's the lightest shade with just one application. I want to build up, and I just tapped into that lightest shade twice. And what I'm going to do is just place it first and then buff. I definitely feel if you are light to light medium, you would want to go with a brush that's more like, if you don't like a strong pigmented look, I would go with a softer brush like the Wayne Goss Artist brushes, just very fluffy. These have more density. This is the Refer 4. They have more density, not enough flex in the bristles as the Wayne Goss large artist brush would have. So on this side, I'm going to dip in the dark shade. Instantly, you see it. And I'm not one that likes a stark blush, but when it comes to a coral or a peachy shade, I really don't mind, because they just look beautiful on medium skin tones. I feel peach is one of the most just flattering shades on most skin tones, like the most universal shade. And nothing's really universal, but peach is definitely one of those shades, if you have the right peach, that can go very well with multiple skin tones. So that is just one application. If I dip in here one more time, 2 more times, because that first one I didn't dip right, I'm going to dust I'm gonna tap some off. Yes, it definitely builds up. Like on camera, it doesn't probably look as intense as it does in person because of all the lights. But when I say it's intense, like I wouldn't go outside like this, but for the sake of showing you how it's gonna build up, I wanted you to see it reapplied. But the first application was sufficient. So next on this side that just has the light shade, I'm gonna dip into the light and the dark and just do a combo of the two. And I'm actually going to use the large Wayne Goss artist brush and just buff this out and see how that buffs out in the event that you just went a little heavy-handed. But there it is. It does definitely buff out and take off some pigment. I would go outside like that, but now not how it was before. So here are both shades combined, and it is a little stark. I would honestly apply it for my liking with like the Wayne Goss brush next time, just like the original blushes. I didn't expect them to be as this pigmented. They're not as pigmented as the original formula, but this shade is definitely pigmented. I do love the shade. It's very flattering. I love the way it blends with the bronzer. It's just so pretty. So the first side, this cheek before I just applied this shade was the lightest shade. This is the darker shade. And now this is both shades combined. I really like the shade. I like the formula. Would I pay $90 each to pick up all 6? I don't think I would, but I'm also not a die-hard, like, ooh, blush. Like, I'm good with just a bronzer. I don't mind blush, but I go very light with it. If I see these at the CCO, will I pick up all 6? Yes, I absolutely would. I picked it up because I really wanted to try it, but paying $90 for a blush, I was like, that's more expensive than the Hermes blush. Like, that's crazy. Tommy, what are you doing? I'm just saying. The concealer is $90. I would have to wait and see how it wears. I've paid more for a concealer than $90, and I don't even like it. I'm just gonna say that. But I'm definitely gonna have to see how it wears and just update you guys, but it's looking good thus far. I do like the blush. I really, really do. But like I said, you have to go with a light hand or with a fluffier brush because it is very pigmented. So as far as the concealer goes, I really can't say right now if I think $90 is worth it, because like I've said, I've paid more for one that I don't even enjoy, and I haven't given this one the fair chance of a wear test. So as soon as I do the wear test, I will know the answer to that. And I'll make sure I'll include that in the description box as well, with the wear time, how it wore, and whether I think it's worth it. The blush, like I said, yes, it's beautiful. I love the formula. I'll be swatching this on my daughter and putting that on Instagram, but I don't think $90 for a blush is worth it. That's just my opinion. But until next time, thank you all so much for coming, and don't forget, we're all perfectly imperfect. Bye.